I love being a girl mom. Girl mom is a little bit of drama, a whole lot of thrill and fun, cooking and girly things, but a lot of competitiveness and a little bit of sass. I want to share our story so people can learn that a simple blood test can change the outcome of your child's health. It really can.
I was 11 and my parents noticed that I was drinking a lot of water and I lost a lot of weight. I personally noticed when I had to use the restroom nonstop and I was constantly tired. I didn't want to play with my sisters and I just felt wrong.
Because we knew nothing about type 1 diabetes, it was nothing that occurred to us or a thought that came to our mind. We made an appointment for Taylor to see the pediatrician and see if he could figure out what was going on with her. My husband took her, and I was taking Trinity to have her wisdom teeth removed. During the doctor's appointment, her blood sugar was really high. He suggested that we take her to the emergency room immediately.
I was confused. I was looking at my dad trying to figure out an answer, and his face went stone. Then we got into the truck, we went to the hospital, and I went to DKA and figured out that I had type 1 diabetes. I had no idea what DKA meant, and I was in the hospital for around 6 days.
As a mom of 4, I try to keep everything under control, everything scheduled, and this totally rocked our world. Everything was chaotic. Everything was out of control at this moment. The grief, the stress, the worry was overwhelming. I had a 15-year-old at home recovering from oral surgery in the care of whomever could take care of her. And then I had my other child in the hospital, and the other girls were afraid she was going to die. They didn't understand the diagnosis. I had this grief that I was losing this normal child that I couldn't protect, I couldn't fix. And she first felt the same grief. She had a lot of sadness, a lot of worry.
I was really sad whenever I realized the complexity of type 1 diabetes. I realized that I would always have to be constantly monitoring myself, and even if I wanted to play with somebody, first I would have to check and see if I even could do that. It was a lot of emotions of anger and self-pity because why me? Why did I have to go through this? Why am I a little kid having to figure out all this stuff and having my life in my hands? Since I was in such denial and hatred of my diagnosis, I had a lot of self-pity, and I convinced myself that nobody would want to date me, nobody would want to hang out with me, nobody would like me.
Thinking back to that time, one song just kept repeating through my head that brought me comfort. It's an old song from church. It just said, "Just hold on a little longer. Help is on the way."
After I was diagnosed, my parents decided that it would be best to have all of my sisters be screened.
I did not want to be caught off guard by this again. While I was scared to know if anyone else could have this same diagnosis, I did not want to be thrown into the fire of another child going through what Taylor had gone through. The pediatrician had no knowledge of the screening or where to get it done, but the endocrinologist was able to direct us. The results came back, and Trinity and Kennedy had tested negative. I was shocked to hear the results that Kylie had tested positive for type 1 diabetes-related autoantibodies. That news was such a hard pill to swallow. Kylie's more guarded with her emotions, so having to explain this to her and tell her was probably the most difficult part.
I'm glad I was screened, and I'm glad I know. I think the path I'm on is easier than it was for Taylor because Taylor went straight into DKA as I have not. So I knew about my diagnosis, which she knew nothing about up until the point that she was actually diagnosed.
There was a large difference between me and Kylie with our diagnosis because Kylie's not even insulin dependent, but as soon as I got diagnosed, I had to immediately get put on insulin. I believe screening would have improved my life so much because I would have had the definition of the diagnosis. I would have been able to mentally prepare instead of having my life flipped around in a few days.
The power of knowing makes things so much less stressful for Kylie. She has the ability to learn about diabetes, to learn about how it will impact her life, how she can improve her life. It is so much better for our family.
I'm doing everything I can to stay ahead of everything and maybe make my outcome a little different.
Initially, I had a lot of worry when Kylie had the markers for diabetes, but I realized with the screening, she would have a lot more time to prepare, a lot more research that she could have done. And in the end, because of the screenings, I was at ease because I knew she wouldn't have so many things drastically change.
I'm passionate about early screening because I saw the difference of learning when you're thrown into the fire versus having the knowledge and the ability to prepare. I want everyone to have the opportunity to know before a hospital DKA diagnosis. I am being compensated for sharing our story in this video.